So that right there definitely damaged you emotionally, psychologically, because you're there to be in a safe space and she's providing physically for you. But from an emotional perspective, she's just continuing to feed you that chaos, which is, and it's causing confusion. And that's important to know because there's a lot of foster parents out there. And we want to make sure that they know that they're not contributing to the chaos that already exists. And
Yeah,
sometimes they may be trying to do it with good intentions, but it could come off totally. You're a child, so you're still processing. So
definitely.
that's a you know
And, thank you for dropping that seed in my head to say that there are possibly can be foster parents that could be listening to this. And I'm gonna be a foster parent. That's happening. That's in my future because that's where my heart's at. I know what it feels like to be one of those foster kids. I know what it feels like to be taken or even ripped from your family and having to deal with your emotions and having to deal with your feelings with total strangers and having to learn how to adapt to a life that I mean, you're alone, you know?
so let me touch on that. Just for foster parents that will stumble on this episode. As a 9-year-old child and then now in the foster system, what are some things that you look back on, maybe you haven't thought about, but now looking back on, that they could have done to maybe ease the pain or the difficulty as you were going through this transition? What are some things you think they might have been able to done to just help you?
Wow, it's deep. The first thing that came to mind when you said that was I think when a child is taken from their parents, I think no matter how old they are, they understand that something's not right. They understand that somebody's maybe at fault even. And if they're old enough, they have the details as to what happened and why they are where they are, right? If I can advise foster parents, if you really want to do justice to these children for a situation that they didn't put themselves into, and that was the hate that I carried with my mom a lot was that I didn't do this to myself. I didn't put myself here. You messed up. You did something wrong. Why do I have to get away from my family? Why do I have to go somewhere else? Why do I have to be with people that I don't know? So I'm dealing with those underlying anger issues as I'm going through the foster system as well.
Right.
So for foster parents, what I, want to say is that a child already knows why they're there. A child already knows that their mom's not right or that their dad is not around. A child already knows that. They don't need to be reminded. So, uh, even in times of anger and frustration at a foster kid, the best thing to do is to not throw their past or why they're there in their face. That's probably the best thing that you can do is to stay away from that. And I think just that alone is going to open up the door for maybe down the road healing because sometimes you can't heal a child that's in the midst of chaos. You can't heal them right there and then. Only person I know could do that. The truth to this day is the same person that helped me change my life, and I always give glory to God for that one. He gets respect for that one. So there's some things that we as human beings can't heal in another human being. Sometimes that's left for something greater than us to take place.
Wow.
So,
So, how long were you in the foster care system? And did your parents try to get you back, or what did that look like?
well, interestingly enough, I had a couple conversations with my mom since then, and one of the conversations I asked her, I said, "Mom, I never really asked you while we were gone, where did you live?" I'm an adult now, so I never knew where she lived. And she said that she had met a lot of friends during that time and that she was staying from place to place, that she really didn't have a home. I said, "Oh, wow, I didn't know that." And so I asked my mom another question. I said, "Mom, while I was in the foster home, you have your kids everywhere. How did you get around when you didn't have a car? How were you able to come visit us?" My mom hitchhiked to every visit. and I didn't know that. So that gave me some more that gave me a little bit of compassion for her to say that she was just so stuck in life that she didn't have a car and she didn't have nowhere to go and her kids were taken away from her, and here she is stuck on drugs and trying to, figure out where she's at in life.
So even though the system took her children from her, and even though she was messed up with the drugs and the street life, she still had that motherly instinct to go and visit her children.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why I still choose to know her, to be honest. It took a long time to get over that one though. Probably not until my mid-30s before I finally forgave my mom fully but back being in the foster home, I think the other thing that I started developing was this anger, this undertoned anger. It started coming up, and now kids are making fun of me in school because they find out I'm a foster kid. So, all whatever jokes come along, whatever teasing comes along with that, I probably had all that. So, well, was I bullied in school? Yeah, I was bullied in school growing up. Did I fight? I did, because that's just what I knew how to do.
So now
So,
you're in the foster care system, and how long
yes.
did that last?
Well, 3 years, and that was the first home, and I was there probably the majority of the time. But I think after a while, that foster mother couldn't handle me no more, I guess, in some way. Her mouth was getting too much for me. Now I'm snapping back at her. Now she's rousing me up and riling me up to lash back every time she called my mom a name, or my mom, which was supposed to be there to visit me and would not show up or not be there, and then, start putting her down in front of me. And it's like I already felt bad because my mom didn't show up, but now you're talking about my mom on top of that. So those are the after that started getting old. And I told my social worker about it, and it didn't stop. So I think it was time for me to go to another foster home. And that foster home, I was there for probably about 3 months before they abandoned me. I got abandoned by foster parents. Yeah, that happened.
Wow.
They went to Arizona, left me with my mom's cousin for the weekend. Did a weekend visit, and they never came back. Went to
Wow.
Arizona,
They
never
literally
came back.
abandoned
They
you.
literally abandoned me. They never came back. So my mom's cousin was kind of like pressured to foster me for a little bit, but I don't know if my mom thought just because they were family that she can now come around whenever she wants, and
Mm,
so what she was doing was she was showing up, and I was happy that she would show up, but now she's showing up and she's showing up high.
mm.
She's showing up on PCP. And so I'm like, I didn't, at that point, I was just hating my mom. I just had no respect for her. Didn't care. And I think it started showing. My dress started changing. Started putting on those street clothes. Started talking differently, getting more influenced by the streets, because I think that was my outlet. That was my outlet for all the anger I had inside. So yeah, they gave me up and they said, well, we can't keep him here no more. So that was my third foster home. So now my social worker says, we're going to put you in a boys' home. And after a boys' home, you're going to go to McLaren Hall, which is juvenile hall, kind of bad kids. And at the time, I'm 11 years old. So you could do whatever you want to me at this point. I'm already I'm already broken inside. Everything's broken. Guards are up. So, I ended up going to the boys' home, and I was in the boys' home from 11, almost 11, just gonna about to turn 12 when my mom finally gets us back, right before I was gonna go to group homes. So there's a thing when you're a foster kid, you know how that system works. You go from the foster homes to the boys' homes, and then you go to the group homes. And then after that, they release you into the world, you know? So,
Let me ask you a question.
yeah.
So the bullying was started because you were a foster kid,
Hmm.
and then you started seeking out a negative influence. So the gangs, the street life.
Yeah.
Was that because you were bullied? What drew you to that? I know, of course, it's come from the street life, so it was your comfort. It was all you knew. But what caused that connection that you're like, it was it, I don't want to be bullied anymore, so I'm going to go and link up with the people that aren't getting bullied, or how did that happen? We started that transition.
Well, first of all, just being, what's the word I'm looking for? Not influenced, but just where it's shown to me. This lifestyle has been shown to me since I was a kid. I seen a lot of mean guys growing up, a lot of crazy guys, a lot of I've seen a lot of things happen in front of me. So I knew that there was a lot of violence already there. And I think with the anger that I had building up inside me, I think it was all just gearing me towards that way. It was inevitable. It was going to happen.
It was your community, it was your
It
tribe.
was.
Like,
Yes.
this is what I need to be a part of because
Yeah.
this is
It's interesting though because when I was in the boys' home, uh, got in a couple of fights while I was there with other kids that were there too. And every time I get in a fight, they put me in a straitjacket. They put me in a straitjacket and they put me in a padded room like I was crazy. And so I played the role. So every time I got in a fight and I had to walk across the whole field to get to that room, I already knew. So I'm halfway there, I'm already turning like I'm already flipping the switch off or flipping the
wow.
switch. And by the time I get there and I'm in a straitjacket, I'm bouncing off the walls and I'm just hurting myself now, just bouncing off walls and thinking, so this is what a crazy person feels like. And so I ended up in that straitjacket like two or three times. And then my mom actually gets us back finally. And when she gets us back, uh I go straight to the streets. Yeah. And that's where everything else starts happening about, me growing up.